Hey guys, welcome back to the Friday Vlog, where we discuss activity that goes on here with the BuzWeaver channel. That includes things like current events, headlines that are in the news, pop culture, technology, and items of interest that come up during the week that allow us to have a little bit of a dialogue. If this is your very first time to the channel, I'd like to welcome you guys here as we make changes across the board to the channel. And of course, all of you guys on New Tech and here on YouTube, I want to thank all of you guys for your continued support.
We start things off from the New York Post. Elon Musk slams BBC reporter intense interview. You just lied. And of course, this was amazing to demonstrate and illustrate, ladies and gentlemen, as we have been saying here on the BuzWeaver channel. When it comes to the establishment, when it comes to the left, when it comes to these progressive cancel culture individuals, when you present them with a reasonable, rational, logical question to explain their reasoning, they cannot do it. And we'll get into that here in just a moment. Twitter CEO Elon Musk blasted a BBC reporter during Tuesday's hastily arranged interview when the journalist failed to cite specific examples of hate speech flourishing on the social media platform. Not surprising to me at all. Shouldn't be surprising to anybody that he couldn't do it. As they discussed looming layoffs and the painful journey Musk, 51, has gone through following his Twitter acquisition last year, BBC reporter James Clayton decided to confront the Tesla founder about allegations that he does not have enough staff to police hate speech on Twitter. Now, there's a couple things to follow here. The hastily arranged is probably a way to suggest that maybe the reporter was not prepared. Who wasn't? They never are. Because it's not like he could give an example because he had an example. He only talks about it because that's what the left does. They congregate together in the hive mind collective and they just tell one another one thing or another about something, and then when someone asks them where the information came from or cite an example, they normally can't. And it's just not surprising to me, because I can't tell you how many times on Twitter I get into a discussion about Donald Trump with someone, and I'm having to explain things that he's accomplished, and these people had no idea what Trump has accomplished, what he was able to do while he was president. They have absolutely no clue because the media did not want to educate anyone on what facts are. They don't want to educate people on facts. They want to educate people and tell them what opinions to have. What hate speech are you talking about? Musk asked. I mean, you use Twitter. Do you see a rise in hate speech? Just a personal anecdote. I don't. When Clayton answered that he did personally see more hate speech on Twitter, Musk challenged him to name just one example, but the reporter could not come up with one. He couldn't. He absolutely could not do it. Because, as I have said, as we have said here on the BuzWeaver channel, these individuals have a hive mindset. There is a narrative. There is a direction that they work in. There is a direction that the establishment moves them in. And the idea, so let me explain to you, since they can't, let me explain to you what they think hate speech is. Hate speech to them is anything or anyone that says something that is not in line with the left, that is not in line with the establishment is trying to push, what the establishment uniparty has approved. So anything they deem offensive themselves, their interpretations, their philosophy, their ideology, their worldview, if something clashes with that, it is hate speech, which is very nebulous. Because if hate speech is just a matter of someone's opinion, which is essentially what it is, because people have been saying offensive things throughout history. Even on archaeological walls in Rome, you see graffiti of insults and chastisements and ridiculing certain individual people and calling them out on concrete, on the concrete of the Roman era in the archaeology. So it's not like it's anything new, name calling. But the problem is the left, with their hypersensitive ideologies, philosophies, and worldviews, sees this as a form of hate. So when you disagree with them or say something about them, their organizations, their groups, whatever parties they have, whatever it is that they have, and you speak out against it, that's hate speech. Honestly, I don't actually use that feed anymore because I just don't particularly like it. Now, he doesn't do anything on Twitter. If he goes on Twitter, it's for him to get information from other journalists, from other leftists, from the various different left-leaning organizations, and Trump detractors. They just go on there and they just feed off of each other. They just they just say one thing or another, and it's usually very superficial, mundane, childish things like orange man bad, orange skin. Some might even get as sophisticated as to describe someone like Stormy Daniels. They might actually know how to say her name and remember that. They might even remember to say Michael Avenatti, but I'm giving them way too much credit. Musk replied, "I'm asking for one example, and you can't give a single one? Then I say, sir, that you don't know what you're talking about." Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, how many times have we said that here on the BuzWeaver channel? These people don't know what they're saying. This is how they operate too. When they're not doing their whole hate speech thing, what they do is they do like I used to say that Bill Clinton would do. Lick their finger and stick their finger up and see what direction popularity is blowing from. And that's what they go with. This is why you always hear them talk about the popular vote. Because to them, they're like high school clique kids that are all about the popularity, all about the trending, all about the influence. So you don't even have to have anything inspirational or inspiring or solutions to problems, as long as you have this remarkably wonderful philosophical and ideological view about something. It doesn't even have to be tangible. That's what infuriates me about the Democrats is they know the correct direction to go in, but they don't want to do it unless their backs are completely against the wall. And these individual people, like this reporter here, they just regurgitate what each other says, and they talk in this big circling firing squad. It's absolutely absurd. If you're a cogent, rational, common sense thinking person that deals with everyday problems in everyday life, you have the comprehension within your mind. You are able to discern what these people are doing. And you're just probably thinking to yourself, this is absolutely ridiculous. And most people just ignore it. They dismiss it. They don't address it. They think it might, maybe it'll just go away. I don't want to pay attention to it. And here's the thing. If we continue to have that attitude, if we continue to have that mindset, this will continue to happen, just like they're doing with Donald Trump. This abusive, weaponized system within our government with a clueless president who suffers from a cognitive decline issue that the establishment knows about is using this man. Joe Biden is being used and manipulated by the establishment who tells him what he wants to hear. Then he tells the people, or at least his constituents, what they want to hear. And so, again, you get into this situation where these people don't deal in reality and in the facts and in what's actually happening. They deal in ideology, philosophy, and worldview. Just this mixture of hodgepodge nonsense. And so this guy you would think that a reporter would be able to come up with one example, even if it was a bad example, even if it was an incoherent example, or if it was just some very radical example, you would think he'd be able to come up with one. And this is something that I talk about with people all the time. I just don't understand. When it comes to the protest and rioting that was going on for months, ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about months, if not years, very little was covered. And then one incident happens at the Capitol. There were some individuals who should not have done what they did on January 6th, but it ended up happening. And all of a sudden, this becomes like the worst thing that's ever happened in our country since the Civil War and all these other exaggerated, sensationalized examples. It's absolutely amazing. And the same thing with gun control. When the Democrats were in control of the House and the Senate and the presidency, why didn't they pursue all their gun control? They had the majority. Well, they wanted to wait till the Republicans came along so they could blame all of it on Republicans. Why? Because our Constitution already guarantees our rights, and it says specifically, shall not be infringed. And so, in a way, they want to play the two-sided game here of not looking like the bad guys because they want to shut down the Second Amendment, and then at the same time, they want to blame someone else when they can't pass something that they feel that might embarrass them to do. It's absolutely absurd, the mindsets of these people. Now, I am going to link you this article as well as the brief interview so you can just see the absurdity of it. And this is very similar to how my conversations go when I'm debating and talking about these issues with people who just have no idea, no clue. But nonetheless, guys, that's what I have for you this Friday.
All right, guys, so that's going to wrap it up for this Friday vlog. Thank you so much for the likes, the shares, and the comments. We are continuing to battle through the demonetization and, of course, in search engines and others as people look for this type of content. We are, of course, pushed down by all of the mainstream media or authorized voices, as YouTube likes to say. So your guys' help, support, likes, shares, comments, I say that, it does help. Thank you so much. It is greatly appreciated. And of course, below this video, if you want to try to help out the channel, you'll see the various links to my affiliate marketing. And if you go to my main page in the top right-hand corner of the banner, if you go to the main channel for my page, you can see other ways to assist me as well. It is completely up to you, but I do appreciate everything you guys have done. And of course, appearing there on the screen on the right-hand side, you will see the channel icon for YouTube here. That would be the BuzWeaver channel icon that you guys can click on to subscribe, as well as to select notifications. And I'll see all you guys right there behind the new Galaxy phone camera next week.